That's all I got.
Appreciate you, Torin. Thank you for that. Taylin, aka She Who Showers, the mic is open. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm somebody who's been writing and talking about anti-oppression for several years now, because I actually got hardcore introduced to it with my spouse, who happens to be a white man, who I got with about 12 years ago. Did not realize what I was actually introducing into my life and what it would be like to have a white person in my intimate spaces, and how the violence is just constant, and it's so normalized that we don't even recognize it when we see it. And the thing about social media now is that violence, specifically violence towards Black women, and anyone who actually falls into an intersection of identity that is actively oppressed, um, people are rewarded for attacking us. People are rewarded for, creating these platforms and talking about us as negatively as possible. There are many people who want to co-sign on it. There are many people who want to get that instant popularity from doing it. The fact that that space blew up and had, thousands of people on it with a title like that, it's not just, the people who are fighting against it, but it is also the people who do support it. And it's a horrible, horrible environment. I woke up to see that, and honestly, it broke my heart, because every day I see more and more messaging that is basically saying that my existence is a problem. And that's a horrible thing to have to endure. That's a horrible thing to inflict on other people. And yet, because people are rewarded for it, because that violence, it is rewarded with popularity, it is rewarded financially, it is rewarded socially, it's not going to stop. And I don't know how we can really address it until we actively figure out how to stop making it something that people can get popular from doing. How they can stop making a name from themselves by basically shitting on Black women and any other oppressed identity as often as they can. And that's something that we really need to start thinking about, because until that stops, this will not stop. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
That's where. Thank you so much for that. My recommendation is just for me. For every Black woman they attack, I'm attacking 10 mediocre white men. Lane B, your mic is open. The floor is yours.
Hey, Benjamin. Thank you for having this space. I just wanted to speak about, I was in that space listening briefly for about a couple of minutes before I reported it, but I'm not surprised that that space was going on, because this is something that has been happening for a while. And I feel as though that a lot of us, especially Black women, we get upset and we get emotional about those type of spaces. But what we really need to be focused on is more change within our community. I believe that our people need to be in more spaces to be able to create more change. That's in the medical field, that's in the courtrooms, that's in law, that's in more businesses, that's creating more of a bigger community for ourselves, because this is not going to stop. Only way it's going to stop is if we're able to actually unite and help each other build, help each other create more communities for our children, help them get into better spaces to be able to make more changes. It's very sad that things like this are still going on, but I feel like the focus needs to be shifted on creating more change within our community, because it's not going to stop. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Lane. Up next, I have shoulder shaking conversation. Your mic is open. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, y'all. My name is Michael. I'm a senior at UNC Chapel Hill. I just want to have, I guess, two things to say about that space. The first thing being the fact that they were definitely baiting with the title, because of the fact it was like, are there too many Black women in public? They already know off jump that is going to make people angry, make people react. So the fact that when people were getting in the space, or Black people were getting in the space, and then gave them the chance to speak on it, they were angry. And so they were already in there saying, oh, well, the only people that have spoken, or like the Black people that have spoken, are angry, and like they're all like stereotypical, like of what a typical black person is. And it's like, well, why do you think that? We're not coming at people unprovoked. Like, you're literally provoking violence amongst us, and then want to scream, oh, they're attacking me, oh, we're being this, that, and the fourth. And it's like, that's just literally white tears. What white people do best is literally to provoke people and then play the victim and act like it's our fault. And then I guess my second...
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah,
Kyle
exactly.
Rittenhouse.
That literally almost got me to the point where I cried over it, because it was just very, very, like, I just didn't understand the fact that, like, white people get to do and say anything they want to and have no repercussions for it. And then the second thing I have to say is the fact that, are there too many white men in public spaces? The first thing, the only thing I really want to say about that is that politics. There are too many white old men in politics to be trying to run a country or do anything. And it's like, y'all are 80 something years old. Y'all are out of touch. Like, there's so many times where it's like, there's like a, videos of these old white men speaking to other people in politics. And there was like an example was the one where there was this man who was like, oh, are you going to shut down Finsta? Do you know what Finsta is? This is that. And the fourth, and it's like, sir, you don't even know what you're talking about. Why do you feel like you're qualified to still be in this space? Which is my issue. But that's a greater thing that can't necessarily face at the moment. But are there too many white men in spaces? I do believe so, yes. But thank you for letting me speak.
All right, appreciate that, man. And I was just getting ready to comment on the fact that most everybody who has spoken so far has rejected the title of this group. But no, I appreciate that. The next speaker up, I want to get in Mimi Millions. Your mic is open. The floor is yours.
Hi, good morning from Texas. Some of y'all are probably in the afternoon. Hello. I just wanted to, I'll keep it super short. I really just wanted to thank you, Benjamin. I followed you today for having this space, because as a Black woman, to wake up and see something like, well, I've been up, but to get on Twitter and see something like that on my timeline bright and early in the morning before a cup of coffee is like not how I want to start my Monday morning. And to see that there are Black men who are willing to go to bat for us and give a platform, at least for people to say, no, Black women, y'all are loved, y'all are appreciated. I really appreciate that. And just one call to action, and I'm gonna get up off of here and try to start my day. I really challenge the Black men. I know there's so many in this space. I really challenge y'all to be the blueprint. A lot of things that were being said, I stayed in the space because I was just kind of curious. You know, I'm a person that values perspective, so I was really curious to hear what they were saying. And a lot of the things that I heard, just to be honest, I wasn't surprised to hear, because I've heard a lot of those things from Black influencers as well. Black male influencers, and in recent, you know, especially this year. I don't know if it's because we're all inside in the pandemic and people are getting bored or what, but for some reason the attacks on Black women have gotten more and more overt this year, and at least in the media. And so I challenge the Black men that are listening, and if there's white men listening, you know, more power to you as well. But the Black men that are listening, please be the change that you want to see. Please lead by example, and make it a point to correct your Black friends as well, your homeboys that are career womanizers or whatever, you know, it's being called this generation. I challenge y'all to really just, you know, hold them accountable for their rhetoric. You know, the a lot of that rhetoric that boy that, you know, had the space earlier was spitting, like it wasn't new. It kind of came from, some of that came from our own community. It wasn't original. So be very cognizant of that. And otherwise, have a great day and a great week, y'all.
Hey, thanks, sis. You too. You do the same. Thank you for that. I want to get a gentleman who's been waiting for some time, Mike Harvey, who's a candidate for Florida State Senate. Your mic is open.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for hosting this space. I was a part of probably about the last 39 minutes of that other abhorrent, totally disgusting, disrespectful space. I tried to, because I was in the confines of someone else's space, I couldn't speak or say some of the things that I really wanted to speak. But during portions of that space, my heart, like inside, I wanted to start shedding tears for my sisters out there. You're worth so much more than that space gave you credit for. That was absolutely one of the most terrible spaces I've ever. And as a candidate, I've been a part of a lot of pretty disgusting spaces, but that was absolutely abhorrent. You guys have been the backbone of the Democratic Party for the last 75 years. There would not be a modern Democratic Party if there were not for Black women. There would not have been a civil rights movement if there were not for Black women. There would not be the first African American candidate for Senate District 20 in Florida if there were not for Black women. So, absolutely, there are not too many Black women in public. There's not enough Black women in public.
Mike, thank you for that. Is District 20, is that Alcee Hastings' former seat? I know he passed away recently.
No, that's Danny Burgess. He's the one that created the riot bill, which basically gives you the right to run over Black people when they protest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm going against. He's also the chairman of the Senate Redistricting Committee. So he just submitted maps that basically move the district 30 miles to the center of his house.
Well, you might. I'm gonna remove you as a speaker, so you don't have to take any responsibility for what I'm about to say. Thank you for that. Be sure to whip his ass, politically speaking. Belly of Jeffa, your microphone is open.
Belly out heifer. So playing on words, but
oh Lord, I did the best I could, sis.
Okay.
Forgive me.
I'm just now getting my voice back. Bear with me. First off, I want to say to every Black woman in this space, you are the prototype. You are resilient. You are strong. You are everything that the world needs. And like he said, there are not enough of us in public spaces. I also wanted to say, stop explaining yourselves to white people. And be just Black. Be you. And be okay with being that. Stop inviting white people to the cookout because they funny, because they can dance, and inviting them to our spaces. We're not doing that no more. We're not doing that anymore. I just really want y'all to stop trying to educate and love and give your exceptional Blackness to these white supremacist people. They're not going to get it. They're not going to understand it. They don't want to understand it. They want to be who they are. That space bothered me so much because it was so many Black people in there giving this stupidity attention. For two men that have 200 followers, the only reason it was 4,000 people in there is because we came in there. That should have been a come in, because I did it. I went in there like, what is this? Went in there, oh, I gotta go. This ain't for me. And that's what that should have been for all of us. Everybody Black. Pop in, pop out. We have to stop giving stupid white people attention. Because if you give it to them, they're going to gaslight us every time. And that's exactly what that was, a gaslight. Stop doing that. I love y'all.
Love you back, sis. Appreciate that. I want to bring up this sister has been waiting for a minute, Savon DePaul. Yeah, the floor is yours. I misgendered you. My fault. I just got to your pronouns. The floor is yours.
Thanks. Good, yeah, you hear me. Yeah, I'm a Black trans femme, non-binary person. Yeah, I hopped in here as soon as I saw that you had made the space. I popped in. I had seen screenshots of that other space from some other people I follow, and I was disgusted but not surprised, really. And I feel like this is just one of many trends of obviously of just what's been going on in so-called America the whole damn time, but like especially as a recent, a lot of this hard reactionary backlash to gains that have been made. The gains that we've been making as Black people, especially that Black women and Black trans people have been fighting for this whole time. And now we're starting to see this we're starting to see this harsh reaction. More and more people. The one brother said it earlier. More people are showing their asses, and I've been seeing that recently as like also in part and parcel and interconnected with the kind of backlash to kind of more gains for trans folks and more gains for women in general. Like these are interconnected and interdependent on each other. So, and obviously what we need to do is I do agree with that one person that we need to stop giving individual like white supremacists attention, but as we live in the society, we live under these systems of oppression. We gotta, show material support for those who are most vulnerable for each other, as well as we, kind of mobilize and we connect with each other and we, keep the foot on the pedal and we keep moving so we can dismantle those systems, So that's what I have to say about that. Yeah. Peace and love to y'all.
Thanks so much for that. We're going to keep trucking. We got Dr. Hang on, let me get the title. Dr. Camille A. Jones. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon and greetings. Good day, good people. I just wanted to come in from a different perspective. Everybody who knows Miss Doc Jones know I'm always going to drop some clinical nuggets for you guys. Recognize, I grew up in, I'm a Brooklyn baby, everybody knows, and I grew up with my mom and dad, and I used to be so frustrated when I would walk into the room and hear my dad listening to Rush Limbaugh. Two educated parents, big time activists in New York, and I would hear him lit, and I just felt like he was going against the cause. And I asked him, I said, Daddy, like, why? And he says, this gentleman's playing checkers. We as a people have to learn to play chess. And by doing so, you always got to be 2 steps ahead of the next move the quote unquote enemy is making. Be informed of how they think and how they move. And in that next breath, he also told me, like, recognize the time when I'm listening to him. I don't absorb all this energy. I don't absorb all of his messaging, but I get it at a point in my day where I can still operate within my space and for my emotional wellness. And I want to pass that on to everybody. A lot of times we work for acceptance, to be invited, to have a seat at the table. But I want to ask about that shifting in mentality to become builders. Build your own table, make your own seats. When you make it, invite somebody else. Give them the blueprint of your journey so that we as a people can start to take command of the things we need within our community. So when spaces like that are created, like Young Sis says, there's no need for us to walk through that door. Because we know that's not a door for us. That's not a door that is going to take appreciation for our offerings nor our value. We have to protect our mentality and our emotional wellness because we getting hit hard. We get punched in the face. We get kicked on, spit on, dragged constantly. And so we have to create a balance for ourselves. And that doesn't mean be ignorant to what the next man is saying or be closed to, oh, that's them, that's not us. That's a point of being informed, but also being informed of what your self-care needs are as well. Don't absorb all energy from assholes. Don't take all hate that people spew, especially when you know that's not an outfit that you should adorn yourself with. I encourage everyone to just take time to understand what you need for the moment. And if it's not those kind of words, if it's not those kind of messages, this is not that moment for the movement, it's okay. Catch us on the next go around. Self-containment and self-care is going to be optimal to winning this true chess match. Thank you for sharing me. Thanks for this platform, Ben.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for that. Chestnut checkers. I'm going to go next to, give me 1 second, is Lamoon. The Moon, the floor is yours, rather.
Thank you, Benjamin, for that good brief introduction, and grand risings to anybody who's listening to us today. I have been in and out a couple of spaces, kind of getting the rundown of what's been going on. And basically, the summary of it is that these white men or women are making these fake accounts, and they're making these spaces in order to incite like a reaction from the Black community. And their actual goal is actually kind of funny because I found spaces where they actually attributed that goal. And they're trying to get us to fight amongst each other and create a negative narrative amongst each other so they can just basically watch us in the ring. And these accounts have fake information, fake profiles, fake everything, but they're inciting real reactions from the community. And that's really all I wanted to add. So when these spaces come to term, just report them and leave, because you're giving them the audience that they're looking for.
Word. Hey, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. There was something that you said, it was really critical, and it'll come back to me in a second. In the meantime, let me get Lex, Pleather Jacket. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak here. There's a couple things that I wrote down as I was listening. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. First of all, I just want to say that the title that started this all of, are there too many Black women in public spaces? First of all, being a Black woman in a public space is already putting yourself in the direct line of violence and harm. And then to the title of this, are there too many white men in public spaces? I would say yes, obviously yes. And I think that, spaces that are dominated by white men are inherently violent, especially to Black women. The other thing I wanted to say, which was something that I heard a lot of people talking about, were Black people and Black women specifically, getting involved in politics and, working in hospitals, becoming doctors and things like that. And as someone who's worked in the social work field for a little while now, and, I'm a good chunk into my MSW, one thing I can say is that we will not overcome systems of oppression by joining them. We are just not going to win at their game. And I think that's something that we're going to have to come to terms with at some point. And I think that these systems will only, are really incapable of changing. They need to be dismantled, and that's not going to be done by respectability politics and trying to play by their rules because they weren't made for us. And that's just the reality of it. And I think that like someone else said, and I can't remember their name, I apologize, about inviting white folks into the cookout and into Black spaces. That's just something that really needs to stop, because we will never be welcome in their spaces in that way. And it's okay to have spaces that are only safe for Black people. And the other thing I was going to say is that we need to end this Black women as the character, the Bammy thing altogether. I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people talked about. Black women always have to be the butt of the joke. We see it so often, in the media, and kind of all these comedians and creators on social media who have built a platform off of pretty much making fun of Black women. And I think that really creates an even more harmful narrative, because again, it's Black women can't do anything without being critiqued. No matter what we wear, how we talk, how we act, it's our existence is inviting, all these think pieces on Black women. It's insane. And then, sorry, I just want to make sure I get everything that I wanted to say. And then, about someone else saying there's no need to educate white people in 2021. If you are ignorant, it is 100% by choice. There is no need to use your energy, time, especially if you're not being compensated for it, to try to educate white people. There are way too many free resources. And even if they're not free, I mean, these people have the financial resources to pay for, education on these things. I think that, that has to be the job of other white people, because Black people just need to stop using their energy to try to educate people. That's dead. It's 2021. Literally, you can get information anywhere. You can educate yourself anywhere. And the last thing I want to say, and I'm sorry, I know this ended up kind of being long, but those kind of spaces where, you know, someone makes a space called "Are There Too Many Black Women in Public Spaces?" or, you know, whatever the case may be like that. Stop joining those spaces. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand wanting to report it, and this is something that other people have brought up, but and again, it's to incite a reaction, and social media is monetized. People make money off of these things, and you know, while you know, giving or not giving an individual, you know, attention isn't going to, you know, solve racism or solve, you know, the violence that occurs when you are at the intersection of being, you know, a woman and being Black, or, you know, being multiple, having multiple minority identities. You know, not joining the space isn't going to change that, but it's going to, you know, lessen your trauma, lessen what's happening to you, and not give people a platform where they can make money off of this. And, you know, that's just really all I wanted to say. So thank you again.
No, thank you. Thank you. Let me get Miss K. The floor is open for you.
Oh, thank you, Benjamin. What I wanted to say, it's actually something very brief. I was asking for you to put the hashtag on the topic, so some of us can speak outside the hashtag. Because if there's no hashtag, we're all gonna flog in requesting a mic, and eventually it'll crash. So that will be all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me go to V. The floor is open for you, V.
Hi guys. All right. So I was actually in the other space, listening to the guys. Obviously, I saw a lot of the black ladies trying to reply, and they were being ambushed, and they didn't obviously get a chance to, you know, speak their views about how they feel about the topic that they put out there. But I listened to the guys. A lot of the stuff that they said. Firstly, I just wanted to reply to a few of the pointers if I can actually remember them. All right. So they spoke about the immigration issue. When it comes to immigration, according to my understanding, I'm South African. We've had immigration issues even here. So immigration is a worldwide issue. It doesn't matter where you go, in Europe, in America. Immigrants, of course, work harder. I mean, obviously, you're not going to travel to another country and not perform better. But there's some of the stuff they said about, you know, African Americans, because of their descendants from Africa and the slavery issue. You know, those were just throwing things loosely. They were just throwing a lot of stuff loosely, because I don't agree with any of that stuff that they said, because I feel that, like one of the guys said that African Americans, not all of them are not descendants of Africa, not all of them are. So just the whole idea of them thinking that immigrants in America work harder than African Americans. Okay, that's just not a term that you throw around. Immigrants anywhere in the world actually work hard. So I don't think it has anything to do with African Americans not performing economically, or however they want to portray African Americans in your side of the world. But what I feel that immigration all over the world is an issue. So it doesn't matter if you feel that, you know, immigrants are taking over your economy. We've had xenophobic attacks in South Africa. We've had black people here fighting with other African nationals because they felt that they come and they take all the jobs, they take all the work. So it's a worldwide issue, guys. But what I feel generally about white supremacy and white people in general, because we also have white supremacy here in outside of town. I mean, I feel that generally, you know, white people, the aim with white supremacy is to divide and rule. Okay, in any society, whether you're going to the African American community, whether you're going to the African regions here in our side of the world, whether you go to Europe, white people generally, I feel that you guys can also reply. I see Simons is over here, obviously here is one of a white activists in South Africa, but I see that white white supremacy has always been to divide and rule. If they see black people in a certain community, whether you speak the same language or you don't, we have white supremacy here, dividing and ruling us every day. Xhosas don't get along with Zulus. Nigerians don't get along with South Africans. West Africans don't get along with East Africans. There's a lot of connotations around black people within black communities. So even if you go to America and they're instilling the same hatred and the same stereotypes there about black women being overweight, black women not washing their nails. My God, guys, I even have my own stereotypes. We all know most people feel that even white people don't bath. So you don't just go around throwing loose terms like that in public. You don't. Number two, guys, I just want to cut it short as well. I don't want to take over the mic. Secondly, I also feel that in South Africa we have a hate speech rule. Like it's in our constitution. So basically, if you promote hate speech this side of town, you get arrested. We've had a lot of these white kids that come on social media, that use whatever platform they have, and they try and promote certain. Like the other lady just spoke now in your space, and she said that they change different accounts. They use different fake accounts to promote hatred. And so how do you handle that? What is the way forward? What is the solution? The solution is we've got hate speech a rule here that if you obviously promote hate speech and somebody screenshots you, they can take you to court, you can get arrested for it. At this point of time, I think that guy's thing, where is it? I screenshot his page. Go in there, guys. There's over 3,000 people on the space. Go in that guy's space. His name is at low key slaps one. At low key slaps one. Report the account. If you find that anybody, even the white community in America, if you find that there's a fellow white American that's promoting hatred or whatever they're trying to instill there, just report the account or put them in a public space, hang their faces on Facebook, hang them in a local newspaper. Do what you do that you do so well, which is media. So, I mean, because we can't really generalize hatred. We can't say, oh, white people are racist. White people are this, black people are this. We're tired, guys. We're going for 2022. Yeah. You understand? And we don't, we're tired. We're tired of having this topic every time. There's a black person killed in America every day. There's a black person attacked in America every day. We're exhausted, guys. Do something about it, hey? Yeah, thanks, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Next up, let me get in. I'm going to get in Carla and then Glenn. Carla, you're up.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Benjamin. I was taking some notes like V. Just want to kind of say the things, and I raised my hand to speak in there. I didn't get an opportunity. I know that the gentleman Fuse did a lot of speaking there. I appreciated it. I think that what he was saying was very logical, and calling out the points that they were making just didn't. He did a very good job. And at one point he used where he called one of the gentlemen racist, and that gentleman got really he got triggered by being called a racist. But at the same time, that gentleman was calling us predators, calling us losers, saying things like that to incite people, but then didn't understand. I don't even say that he didn't understand. It's just my opinion that he purposely refused to acknowledge that he was inciting people's anger by the language that he was using. I had some questions that I written down and just some facts too. I think like one of the things that he was saying when he was part of the reason why he had created this space was that there was another space created by Black women talking about white women overstepping their bounds or something like that. And I feel like I was in a space where white women, it was a Black dominated space. White women were attempting to, take over that space and share their opinions, which was not welcomed. And so those white women went and created their own space. And then Black women then turned around and created the space that he was talking about. So in many instances, his context was off, in my opinion, about, trying to make it seem that Black women were, going after these white women when they created that space. But it was just a lot of back and forth that he missed the context of, to even say, I'm protecting white women, so to speak, in creating this space to have that dialogue that they were having today. I was the questions that let me go here. Black people. One thing I didn't notice, there was a lot of talk about the community that he lived in and how the Black people there were the behavior, more so Black women's behavior in this community. He never talked about like the wealth gap. We were talking about, or there was talk about poverty, but not address that Black people have 1% of the wealth here in America, and what was causing that, and how that in turn turns into the violence and the, like, I guess, how did he say, the depression that our community has, and how we react to certain things out in public based off of that is just very, very disingenuous. Oh, yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can say.
All right, thank you. One of the things they talked about was, he said, "Oh, let's be very clear. Who are the people in the media who are giving all this information?" And he said the Jews. And so I wanted to know, like, if that's the case, those are white people. Like, why are white people not holding their own white people accountable? Like, they can say, "Oh, Jews doing this to you," but then shouldn't that, if we're gonna police our own communities, why do they just get the excuse of the Jews are doing it, and then it be our responsibility to go and correct all this misinformation that we're being fed? Those are white people. They should police their own people. One of the things that I was like, my questions were, I gotta wait, one more thing. He brought up something about like white people and this white fragility book that was written, and kind of justifying how he felt he had the stance to talk about to Black women, like educate Black women on what they are doing wrong out here. And I just wanted to point out that that white fragility book is written by a white person for white people. So his premise is not even legitimate. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me that they would say that. And they said a lot of things that just was not logical. Again, with that whole Black immigrants come to the United States, and at the time that they was rounding us up for slavery, the less genetically or how do I say, the genetically inferior, like, we are the genetically inferior people because we couldn't run fast enough, we wasn't smart enough to escape the slave catchers. Like, that just threw me off completely. Like, what? I don't even know. And this is some
Carla,
logic that they were thinking that is going to really justify why. Too much. My questions for them were, what was the point? Like, were they there to vent? Were they there to find common ground? Because it did not feel at all that that was something that they were doing. And if they were there to vent, I can respect that. But for us to not go into those spaces and correct that behavior, or at least stand on our own square of who we are and what we are, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I feel justified to go there to that space and listen to that space, and engage in some dialogue. It's not necessarily to educate them, because white supremacy, they created this. They know what their systems are, and their ignorance or feigned ignorance. We should not definitely be trying to teach them, I think, but to stand our ground and say that they're wrong. I can support that. People would do that. Let me see. One of the things, I guess I talked about when he used the racist. I was going to ask him, like, did you see how his language affected you, and why your language, why you're not seeing that your language is affecting other people? Thank you, everybody, for letting me talk here. I believe that's everything that I wanted to say. I just kind of wanted to give the my views on what happened in that space. I believe, like, and Tariq came in there and shut a lot of the things that he was saying down. I thought that was entertaining. But thank you very much for creating this space. I don't know whether white people take up too much space in public or not, but I do think that we have a right to have space in public and counter any of these things. Lastly, if we're going to talk about white supremacy, racism, I would suggest that we get educated on our own. And a couple of books that I would suggest is Dr. Welsing's The ISIS Papers. She says that the reason why white supremacy exists is because they are less than 10% of the population, the world population, and they are in fear of genetic annihilation because the black male gene, men are the gun. When it comes to sex, they have that ability to create a child, and that the black gene is the superior genetic gene, and they are protecting themselves. So, with that being the case, we should understand that this is not a system that they're going to give up freely, and it's psychological to them. And the other books I would suggest is Dr.
Carla, let me.
Fuller, the compensatory code book to be a counter racist. I'm sure I didn't get that correct. If anybody could correct that for me. But those are two very good books to educate ourselves on racism, white supremacy. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
Carla, there was something that you said there that you know what it was. I'm trying to get as many people in as I can. So, but I do want to just say this because Carla, I could hear how much time and effort you really put into trying to understand those white supremacists. And I just want to just share what Dr. Carl Hart shared with me from Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison said the purpose of racism is to occupy your time. That boy knew exactly what the hell he was doing. Mm. He knew that he would get the numbers. Mm. And look, he had 300 followers. Nobody, right?
Right.
And nobody on Twitter. But he gets 4,000 because it is a known thing in this country that if you attack if you attack black women, you get the numbers. Here's the other thing. He also knew damn well that he was a racist. And his feigned outrage about being called a racist, that's the game that they play. They've mastered it from Washington, D.C. all the way down to Twitter Spaces. All right, that's all I got. Let me get the next person in here. Glenn has been so patient. Glenn, the floor is yours.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I only have a few quick points. I want to give a little background from me. I come from a mixed background. I was raised up in the Northeast in Maine. I was adopted by a white family. Ended up in Tallahassee, going to Florida A&M. So it's kind of a interesting background as far as seeing both sides of the fence. What I saw in that room was just like beyond disgusting. I had to laugh most of the time, just basically because of the it was obvious gaslighting. But the thought process that some people truly still believe in this day and age, when they have the ability, everyone has the ability to not just listen to the media, to not just react for what they see on social media, but to actually do the research themselves. If they really want to find the truth, not just what backs up what they want to believe, they have the ability to do that. There's nothing more important than understanding not just our history as whatever minority group that we come from, but world history. World history repeats itself. No matter what race. In our situation, it's been hundreds and hundreds of years since slavery. And this is the result. The result is the fact that the black family has been forever marred in this country. It's a huge issue. We need to, as black men, we need to be able to protect our women. That's what a man is supposed to do. Protect his woman. Black women should already know. They shouldn't have to have groups where people tell them how beautiful and how strong they are. They should know that. But at the end of the day, it's the man's responsibility to be able to jump in and protect against people like those guys that had that space. I do want to say that the family unit, the very first thing you want to do if you want to destroy a group of people is you want to find multiple ways to be able to attack the family unit. Over the last 400 years, they've done that with our people. Taking the man out of the equation, slavery, Jim Crow, and obviously the things that they're doing now. We need to understand the power of social media, understand that the majority of these people would never dare have these conversations face to face with any of us. Social media empowers them and gives them the ability to be a digital bully, to be able to say things that incite us. And hopefully, they try to make us take action that's going to be detrimental to us and our family. Balance is key. When we listen to those sites, there's only so much nastiness and hate that you can take in without it affecting you and causing you to become nasty and hateful in return. The more time that you spend on beneficial, uplifting things, and finding a positive way to be able to make your personal situation, your family situation better, then the better off you'll be. We do, however, need to understand the tactics they're using. So we do need to, from time to time, like I accidentally ended up in that group today, sitting there and listening to that, it let me know that there are a lot of people that are just devoid of being able to have any type of reason or ability to take ownership of their space and the problems that exist today. That's pretty much all I have to say. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thanks so much, man. Let me get baby. The floor is yours.
Hi. Yeah. Sorry. Was there an actual ending at the end of that stupid space at all? Was there?
I think it's over. I'm not sure how it ended. If anybody knows, tweet it at us.
Because it was so ridiculous. I literally was there laughing. I was at work, and I think I was listening to it probably for about 2 hours and trying to get on stage just to see if I can actually get through to this guy. But then at the same time, anytime any black woman spoke, he cut them off and took them off the stage. So I was thinking, what's the point of this quote unquote debate if black women cannot speak or essentially defend themselves in this space? But then at the same time, he was saying, the space is not for you. So who is it for then that you created this space for, that you've put basically us in the title? It really didn't make any sense. And then his little chum friend, whoever it was, Will, whoever his name was, sort of adding on to it and being all like, oh no, this, that, the other, like we're not being racist and we're not doing, and it's just like, it was just pure gaslighting. And I think another British fellow come on the space as well, and because he had a British accent, a completely different accent from himself, he was like, oh, are you an immigrant? Are you an African immigrant? And that was just like, what? Like, he didn't ask him, oh, where are you from? Because that's the polite thing to do, since you want to be all proper and, like, oh, I'm, we're the better, the race and all this kind of stuff. Like, okay, cool. So come to people properly, speak to them as humans, ask him, where is he from? I hear you have an accent. No, he just went straight away to, oh, are you an African immigrant? It didn't make any sense. Like, I didn't know if there was going to be an ending to this thing, or if, like, what was the point? That's where I'm getting at. Like, what was the point? Like, it didn't. I don't know. Does anybody know what the point was of that group? Because it did nothing for anybody.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. The point was really to just display, right? I think it was just a display of how easy it is for mediocre white people to get a national platform and have people talking about them on the national stage. Right? That's what it was. It's just showing you how effective this algorithm is at fomenting white supremacy to the top. You're up.
Yeah, I just wanted to build off of what you just said and also what Glenn said about its effectiveness in dividing the Black family. And I popped in for a little bit, and I did see them intentionally saying things like, Black women act like this in public and Black men don't. How do Black men feel about that? And opening the space for further division between the Black community, knowing that there are a lot of Black men who have some issue with Black women. So I just thought that was very important to note, especially because Black men also do create spaces to discuss Black women, and white people see that. So when we're having these debates that we believe are within the Black community, saying things like, are Black women less feminine than other women? They are seeing that and they're using that as well. It's not to make a blame. I definitely do agree with not engaging with it because they were really ignorant and just bigoted. Like, they had no purpose, but I just wanted to note that and seeing like the intentional use of their language to further divide Black women and Black men.
Yeah. No, thank you for that, because they know. You get Black couples together, Black love fucks them up real good. Let me move over to who's next. Vita, the floor is yours.
Hey, what's up? Thanks. This is the thing. My whole thing is we spend too much time arguing with them about shit, white people about shit, when we know they're being racist. Like, first of all, I think they're all racist. I don't think that's a controversial statement, but I think they're all racist. I wouldn't even waste my time arguing with them because they know exactly what they're doing. I agree. It's divisiveness. I think somebody said that some of this is the Republican attempt to try to get more Black men in their group, and I wouldn't deny it. I definitely think that's possible. But at the end of the day, as Black people, we shouldn't be talking to white people about Black people. I don't give a fuck what they doing. I don't give a fuck if they twerking in the middle of the fucking mall. I'm not talking to no white person about that. That ain't none of their fucking business. So I think sometimes we entertain conversations that we don't need to be entertaining because it's unnecessary. They not confused on what racism is. I heard some Negro in there trying to break down racism and shit. They not confused. They know what the hell that shit is. They create the shit. They know exactly what we going through. You know how I know they know? Because they vote for it every chance they get. So they ain't lost. I don't even get the point of wasting your breath on them. Personally, that's all I wanted to say.
God damn, Vita, you got me over here shouting. Y'all follow that sister. God damn. Come, hang on. Ricardo the cat. Kamala's vodka filled flask.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. As you see, I changed my name from Candace Owens Struggle Edges. But to piggyback off of Vita, I popped in for, I want to say about 5 seconds. I didn't pop in for long. I'm just really tired of people shitting on us as Black women. I'm kind of at my end with it. Sorry. Anyway, so sorry.
No, it's all good, sis. We love you. Let me bring up a couple more people to the stage. Let me bring... Sis, I am not even going to mess up your name like this. I'm just going to add you as a speaker and give you the floor. The floor is yours. Dr. Oprah, the floor is yours.
I don't think you actually made...
Okay, we're having a hard time hearing you. Let me move on to someone else, and we'll try to get you in at another time. Let's go with Sandy. Sandy Alexandra, I'm adding you as a speaker now. The floor is yours.
Hi. I'm just sorry that there were Black listeners in that room who thought it made any sense to hope to respond to any of the absurd points that were being made. The space was inflammatory for the sake of being inflammatory. It was disgusting, and it behooves us all to protect our energy and our intelligence from depleting spaces like that. The pizza store story was a fiction. It was not true. That's what I heard. What I heard was that it was a fiction. It was all made up. I doubt that any of that happened to that person who claimed it happened to him. That's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate that. I'm going to try Dr. Opera again. And if you could correct me on your name, please.
I don't think you made that person a speaker.
And unfortunately, we still don't hear you. So let me go with Sharp Like a Knife. Angel, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I just wanted to add this little piece. I agree with all the people, I think Vita just said it, who you put something on Twitter and then you get these white men that want to argue with you, and we don't need to explain anything to them. I always say that when they start saying stuff, I say, who cares? You don't matter. I don't care what you have to say. But what really irritates me that they do a lot, and black conservatives do, who are trying to make dollars off of being negative about black people, is when they come in with that plantation dim bullshit. Excuse my language, but I hate that. They come in and they tell you you're a plantation dim. You might not even have your political party in your profile. They don't know who you voted for, but they see you arguing about something that they probably said that wasn't true. They assume you're a Democrat. Then they call you a plantation dim. Then when you say, well, who should I be voting for? Whose policies work for me? They don't tell you that. They just keep telling you you're on a plantation, that the Democrats are the party of the KKK. No one ever does their homework and realizes that the parties have switched back and forth several times. But currently, in this iteration, the Democrats are the party mostly for the people, not Republicans. All of those people in the Republican Party are trying to make a dollar and a name off of this political seat that they have. And when they're done with that seat, they're going to work for a private firm. They're going to write a book, and they're going to make money. That's going to be generational wealth that they're going to leave to their white progeny. So that was what I wanted to say about it, because I get so tired of that plantation dim nonsense. It drives me crazy, because it's just really, again, not even covert, it's overt racism. They come on a tweet with black people and say that over and over again, and you say, okay, you're being racist, and they're like, no, I'm not. Why would you want to be in a party that's the party of the KKK? That's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate that. Let me bring up to the stage 1 second. Mari Harvey. Mari.
I was just in the space, and I was just so saddened by just the rhetoric that was taking place, and I just don't understand, like, how as black people, like, most of the time we're just minding our business, talking about other things. Twitter's, about conversations, but somehow these spaces are created where they're talking about people that they don't associate with, people that they're not friends with, people that they it's just crazy that I see these spaces even coming about. And, like, I knew I was walking into some bullshit when I went into the space, but as a black woman, I had to just see, like, what the people were talking about. And it, like, even when you go on the guy's page, they're just inciting, just violent language. And it's just so sad that, like, even when you're a black person minding your business at any place of the world, like, there's just always going to be somebody that's preoccupied with us. And I just wonder why. Like, even when we're not thinking about them, they're thinking about us. It's just really, really sad.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing that. Y'all just minding our business, and then they're preoccupied with you. Let me bring up to the stage Maya, the menace. The floor is yours.
I just want to say that I think that it's so ironic that this is a space full of black women speaking their opinion, and no one has yet to be loud, aggressive, angry, or anything like that. Because when I listened to the space, I was like, a lot of stuff that I was hearing was black women act just so unruly all the time, and I couldn't fathom it, because I know way too many black women as a black woman myself. And a lot of people are, I hear a lot of questions saying, like, why are they doing this? When I was listening to the space, the host himself, a man came in and was saying that they were stupid and cussing them out and stuff, and they immediately kicked that black man out. He said, we will not do this in a white space. That space was not for us. We got to listen to it, which I think is important for us to listen to spaces like that, only so that we can see who agrees with this type of stuff, so we can, detach ourselves from those types of people, as well as what are they trying to say about us. But we don't have to respond to it, I don't think. I don't feel like we need to respond. We don't need to educate. We don't need to go back and forth. But to know what they're saying about us and how they feel about us, it's important for us to know moving forward, so that we can move accordingly to them, and to know who are the people saying this. Because there are some people in the space that I saw giving, like, thumbs up and 100 emojis, and that I know personally, and I'm looking at them a little side-eyed now. But I think that was a white space for them to bitch and moan about black women for no reason. We do mind our own business. We don't bother people. We literally we go to work, we go to school, we mind our business, and we pay our bills. And yet, and still, for some reason, they're telling false stories about them asking for pizza in Las Vegas. That's the most off-wall shit I've ever heard in my life. I think that I don't think that that space took anything away from me or any other Black woman, because I think that it was a bunch of white boys who were taught by their parents, who were probably in the KKK, racist, supremacists, what they know about Black women. They don't know. They don't actually know us. They've not talked to us. They've not had conversation with us. They're not in the same classrooms as us. And if they are in the same classrooms with us, then they're not listening. You know what I mean? I just think that it was a space for them to talk their shit and all that other fun stuff. And I'm very appreciative of this space here, because I've been listening for a while and I've not heard any aggression. I've not heard any craziness. I've not heard, all the stuff that they've been saying about us in this space in particular. And it's a lot of people in here, and that's all I have to say.
No, I appreciate that. And just to be sure, excuse me while I bring other people up to the stage, just to be sure, fuck all that. If y'all need to cuss these motherfuckers out, please do. If you need a clean, safe space to not hear profanity, my morning show is profanity free, but fuck these white supremacists if necessary. But I do love all the voices that we've heard so far. Mbali, the floor is yours.
Hi, Benjamin. Hi, everybody in the space. I think I'm just gonna say my 2 cents. I joined this space for like a minute or two, and the moment that I did, I could literally feel anger rise from within me. I could feel hate rise from within me, simply because as a Black woman, for so many years, we've been working on, on loving ourselves. I remember I heard one of the guys saying things like, oh, well, Black women don't even like hold conversations about important things because all they know is slavery. All we know is slavery. What about the women who are very highly educated, who are doing great things all over the world? What about the women who are fighting on a daily basis because we've been told that we are too big? Our curves are just something that is considered as fat. Every day we're working on how to love ourselves. Every day we're working on how to actually accept ourselves. We're working very hard each and every day because white people are occupying spaces that we deserve to be occupying, and we cannot occupy those spaces because they are considered as well, they are supreme. And now somebody just wakes up in the morning after working so hard on yourself as a Black woman to say, I'm beautiful, I can make it, I can do this, I believe in myself, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I can do all things. And somebody just wakes up in the morning and says, yeah, Black girls are like this, or Black women are like that. That for me just pissed me off. I'm so angry, I can't even comprehend or even say the things that I want to say the way that I want to say it, because I was pissed off. I had a great day. I really had a great day. And it took just somebody to do that to me. And for me, it's like, are we ever going to heal? Are we ever going to find a common ground? Are we ever going to be okay in this world that we actually live in? What is the future going to be like for Black children as they grow up? If we are going through what we're going through right now as Black people, and all our ancestors have been going through the same shit, when are we actually going to be fine? When are we actually going to enjoy ourselves and say, okay, cool, look, I'm fine, I'm happy? Because there's really no need for that. That space was so unnecessary. I'm so pissed off that there's actually Black people who think that shit is okay to even accept or even agree with white people who just troll Black women. I hope one day we do heal. I don't know when, but I hope we do find a common ground. But today, right now, I'm very angry. I'm really angry. I'm going to step down. Thank you, Benjamin, for allowing me to speak.
No, thank you, sis. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope, if nothing else, I hope you guys get just see how much we love you, right? We can't take back what those boys did, but we can show you how much we love you. Shawit, sorry about the mix-up. You're up next.
All good. I'm literally bawling my eyes out, you guys. Thank you so much for creating this space. Sorry. I'm like, wow. Thank you. It means the world that our Black men are supporting us. They're taking care of us. Thank you for watching our backs. Thank you so much. The hate is real. I fucking hate it. The hate. I was crying throughout the whole thing. But let me collect myself.
thank you so much for being the man to hold this space. We need more of you. We need more guys like you who are like, it was so just loving how you guys are like, you matter. We love you. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we need to hear it. It's so sad. We live in a world where we need to hear it. And, but my to address your topic, yes, there are way too many white men in public spaces. Way too many of them. And that's really, there's no balance. We know that there's no balance. You know what I mean? And so we need balance. We definitely do. And I'm just so proud that our Black men are watching our backs. Like, thank you. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. But my thing is, like, I have a question. So I'm feeling like what she just said. I'm feeling real anger, real sadness, real fucking a lot of emotions. And I don't want to operate off emotions. So then what do we do now? Do we reply with love, or what do we do? Do we react from hate? I don't know. Like, that's what I wanted to ask everyone. It's like, do we reply from a space of love because that's what you're supposed to do? Or do we just reply from a space of anger? Thank you for letting me speak.
No, thank you. Thank you for that. To be honest with you, love sometimes requires anger. Just that's my answer to that. I believe this is a do. I know I messed that one up. The floor is yours.
No, hi Benjamin. I think you're on the right track. It's a deal. Yeah, you're on the right track. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to actually say something. I agree with you on the anger part. I think sometimes, I think we are allowed to be angry about this. We have every right to be angry about this, and anger is not always unproductive. It's something that we can use to spring into action. So like when we see these spaces, when we hear all of these comments, when we see this content, we need to utilize the report button basically as much as we can, because I feel like that a lot of these comments that are being made are basically against Twitter rules, and like they violate Twitter guidelines if you go through Twitter guidelines. But what I wanted to add specifically was that I'm actually really appreciative of you having this counter space, because I do feel like there's an overrepresentation of white men, and I also feel like they feel like they have the right to, and not like obviously not all white men, I'm not generalizing, but the ones who do participate in this behavior, they feel like they have the right to speak on Black issues, so continental Africans or Black people across the world, like that they have a right to speak on our issues, and that they have a right to basically explain to other people how we should be feeling and how we should be responding and how we should be reacting. And I was in one of the spaces a few days ago. It was regarding Black women and why are Black women behaving a certain way. And so like people had some really, really good responses, because obviously, Black American women, we know the history of Black Americans, what they've gone through and what they have experienced. Yet people were trying to like shoot that down and trying to trivialize what Black Americans have gone through. And that's something that really upset me. But what I did appreciate, there were some Black men there who did stand up for Black women and who did stand up for Black Americans. And so what I really want to say is that we should not participate in these spaces as much as we can. We should utilize the report button, and we should also not engage, because these are individuals who don't want to learn. They don't want to have a teaching experience. They don't want they don't want to have a useful exchange. It's just about putting people down, because in that space it was clearly said this is not a safe space, and it's not for you to explain yourselves. It's literally for us to find out like why are Black women the way they are, and even when Black women were explaining it or Black men were explaining it, it was being shut down. So these are people that we're not supposed to be engaging with, and these are not people that we're supposed to give any attention to. So I believe that with anger we can spring into action. Let's be productive about it. Let's utilize the report button. And thank you so much, Benjamin, and thank you so much everyone else who has supported Black women across the world. Because I feel like we are being scapegoated a lot, we are being stereotyped a lot, yet our beauty, our style, our music, our talents are being exploited the world over. And I just think like it's really unfair, and we should really be recognized for everything that we have contributed to popular culture and to so many more other fields across the world. So thank you.